So the first thing that I will do, tie my thread behind the eye of the hook, wrap the hook shank back until I get to the point of the hook, and remove the tag end of the thread. The next thing I will do is take my red gill SLF dubbing, and I will apply it to the thread, loosely dubbed onto the thread. And I don't want it tight, I want it loose. Then I'll start making wraps that I will cover from basically the point of the hook up to about 3/4 of the hook shank, and I'll stop about 1/4 of the way back. So I want plenty of room at the head for the materials when I tie them in. And as I do that, notice this loosely dubbed. So after I do that, I'm going to take a dubbing teaser and I am going to brush this material out so that it basically will hang back a little bit from the back. So I want to build a bump there that's going to help give the fly its shape. And then I want the material, this will be wrapped inside of the fly. It'll give it some movement. So now I'm going to take my Krystal Flesh, which is a synthetic material and not real wavy, pretty fine. That's why you need the red little gills in there. And I'm going to taper each end of it. So however long you want this fly to be, you need twice as much in length here. So in this case, it's going to be about a 5-inch fly. I have 2.5 inches in the back, 2.5 in the front. So I'm going to tie it in the middle of this material. Notice it's tapered, and I'm taking my thumb and spreading it 180 around the hook, around the red. Tie it down tight. Now, once I get it where I want it, I flip it over, and I will add my olive, in this case, top color. And I'm going to wrap it, tie it down, not real tight yet. And I'm going to take my thumb, and I'm going to spread it also 180 around the hook. And once I get that, then I will start to tighten it up a little bit. And as I go, I will adjust the top and the bottom so that, again, there's as much 180 around the hook as you can get it. So once you get to that point, you're going to wrap it down really tight, and then you are going to take your top and pull it back, bring the thread in front of that material without tying it down, and then you're going to do the same for the bottom. Bring it back, and then you're going to make some wraps in front in order to tie it down. Now the reason you're not tying it down is that when you put the fish skull head on, there are 2 slots on the top and the bottom of it, and if you don't tie it down, this material will come out of the slot, and it actually gives it a little more natural taper with the hair coming out of the head more naturally than if you tied this down. And when you glue it, it's going to hold the hair down anyway. So you make some whip finishes, and then you remove the thread, and the tying portion of this fly is now done. So as you notice, you have the little gap where the hair sticks up and where you've already tied that down. That's going to completely go away very shortly. So now you're going to pull this hair down to the body. So again, 180 around the hook with the belly, 180 around the hook with the top, and this will completely cover the red at this point. You could still see it through there, but it's not sticking out as part of it. And when the fly gets wet, it becomes a little more translucent, and the red does stick out as gills behind the head. So slide the head on first before you do anything, and make sure that it fits. So you have to push it back on far enough so that the eye of the hook is exposed off of the head. You want to make sure you can now see the eye of the hook. So check that and make sure nothing's blocking it. So that's good. Now notice where the belly and the top is. It's coming out of those slits more naturally than if we tied the hair down. So you're going to now remove the head, and you're going to put, in this case, Loctite super glue gel control. You can really use anything that works. I like Fletch Tight. You can use really any super glue. The gel just kind of fills in the gaps a little bit better. And I think it works better, so I use that. Then you take your eye and you're going to push that back onto there. Let the glue fill the inside of it. That's going to hold the head on. And again, make sure your eye is clear. So that looks good. And once that's on there, you let it dry for a little bit. Then what I do is I take my light epoxies. In this case, I'm using Solar X, but you can use Tough Fly. You can use really anything that you have. That you can even use Softex or whatever you want in there also. But the glues are so convenient because you've put it on, it's done. So what I do is I take my Flex. You can use the hard stuff, but I use Flex. It gives it that little kind of soft bait feel to it as opposed to hard epoxies. And I'm going to cover the spot from where the fish skull head ends and to the bend of the hook. It adds a little more stiffness in that region, so it prevents the fly from fouling when you're casting, particularly in a lot of wind. It also adds, you can control the shape a little bit more with that material too. As you cure it, you can hold it out or tighten it up as you wish a little bit more. So once I get it on there, I use a light coat. I don't saturate this with a lot. I really just want kind of the outside of it covered. I take my dubbing needle and I smooth everything out and just kind of make sure it's equally distributed around the hook and no blobs of the glue anywhere. And then once I get that, I'm going to take my light and I'm just going to give it one quick zap all the way around the hook, just for like a brief second, just zap it. And that sets the glue so that you have a better hold and it won't tack up on you. Most people hit it with the light and just leave it. So notice I hit it and it's off. I go to the bottom or side and hit it and it's off. Then the other side and the bottom. And once I do that, then I hit the light on the top, I leave it on, and I hit the whole fly for about 30 seconds. And by getting it to set, that fly will not be tacky. I don't have to put anything else over it. So that's the pattern. And if you're fishing somewhere where you have toothy fish, albacore bluefish, or Silversides and bay anchovies, it's the perfect pattern. So here it is, the Krystal Flesh Baitfish.